This episode of Chew Quieter is sponsored by liftedforless.com. Liftedforless.com is your one-stop online marketplace for top quality parts and accessories for your Jeep, Bronco, or truck, carrying great brands like Rockcrawler Suspension, Savvy Off-Road, Rigid Industries, and many more. With a wide range of products designed to enhance your vehicle, trust liftedforless.com to provide you with the best in the industry. And Rub One, revolutionizing the way you wash and protect your Jeep, truck, and side-by-side. Easy to use products designed to give your ride that perfect finish, whether you're on the streets or on the trails. With optional low pressure or high pressure foam cannons, Rub One has you covered. Get yours now at rub-one.com.
All right, you guys, podcast time.
Chew is quieter.
Fucking podcasting right now.
Chew Quieter.
And now, to the podcast studio.
All right, we are back. It's Chew Quieter. I'm Gabe. We have Armando and Chris, and today our special guest is our good friend Marvin Stammel. How are you, sir?
What's up, guys? Thanks for having me, man. Happy to be here.
Yeah, it's been a while since we've talked. Really, I mean, you've just been on the go. You've been like everywhere.
Yeah, I've been very busy. Absolutely, and it's been a minute since I've seen you. Since you sold your Jeep. Have you ever sold it? Since I saw that you at least had it listed. I don't know if you ever actually sold it.
No, I did sell it.
Did?
Yeah.
Okay.
Haven't bought anything new yet for rock crawling. Just a Tacoma. That's really it.
Maybe that will change one day again. Let's hope.
Yeah. But you know me, I'm suited for being outside of it, capturing shit with the camera. And that's what.
Yeah. It's true. It is true. Yeah, story of my life, man. But that's why, like, I will never own a vehicle with no doors. I'm looking into like new projects now, and like, you know, I'm really kind of starting to be sick and tired of like just full bar. Or I would like to get into something more buggy. Not saying full buggy, but more buggy. Mm-hmm. And that was the last discussion. It's like, well, you know, like doors are going to be so and so much extra. Like, I will pay you every freaking penny of that. Like, you have no idea how much I get in and out. Now I'm just looking at chassis options and whatnot. So
you looking to do any build-ins for a camera? Like, you know, right here, modify this area and just make a box for such a camera.
Nah, just like, I don't know. I'll just wing it with GoPro, so I have like my suction cup mount on my window or something. But nah, that'll do it.
See, when I had my Jeep, I was trying to do these things. Like, I wanted to actually rig the whole thing where I can have cameras mounted, hard mounted, and with quick releases, different areas of the Jeep. That way I can have them rolling, grab them with a quick release, just grab it, jump outside, and start running down the hill to capture more footage and that sort of thing.
That'd be kind of cool. Yeah, I have a good system nowadays on what camera I use for what purpose, and when to use an action cam versus when to use the big boy cam and all that. So I don't know. I'm okay with it so far. And like, I hope, man, but the goal is really I'm getting closer and closer to that, but to have a full-time videographer that works for us, that comes with me on these trips. Mm-hmm. And takes over the part of the big boy camera, and I can keep doing my vlogging part, you know, whatever, me talking into the camera, that part I can always do, but having somebody that just takes care of B-roll and outside shots, and you know, where, you know, that it just ups the quality by so much and takes a lot of stress off my shoulders and just makes the videos more fun, more natural. I'm in a better mood ever since I started shooting more with Will and having a little bit of help on the trail and having a little bit of help with filming. Man, I watch my videos and I'm way more myself than I've ever been, because I just have somebody I can, you know, like share my vision with, but also share filming with. If I'm driving, he's filming. If he's driving, I'm filming. And now we have another guy that I've been working with a bunch from Miami. Daniel is his name, and he's done some shooting for us and joined us on a couple of trips. And he's like, basically, he's almost like if Will and I had a child, that Daniel would come out of that. So he fits in perfectly, and it's like super fun to do stuff with him. And he comes with us and is a, you know, really, really good videographer, like top notch. So working with him has been super fun. And it ups the video quality more and more and more and more, where it's not just like that one time a year when we do hell and back, everything looks fancy. No, like we want to have that consistently now. So I don't know. Some people
it's a production. It's no
Correct.
longer just a video or a
Correct.
series. Video
Correct.
series. It's an actual production.
Correct. And we really put in thoughts before we go out. It used to be just like, oh shit, I need a video for Sunday. Let's go wheel really quick and hopefully something
Right.
happens and whatever. No, now we actually have a plan before we go out and like plan the trips. And like, I mean, you still can't stage anything with what we do, but we can set parameters towards good content. That's all we can really do, and that's where we learned over the years like how to set parameters. And unfortunately with what we do is like, all right, how can we make ourselves really miserable? We know good content will follow.
Yeah.
So
See, I've helped you film a few times, but they were never on a 24 hell and back.
no,
And it's a good thing because I'm getting older and trying to stay awake for 24 hours.
especially
At
as
my age.
media, it's brutal. It's absolutely
Yeah.
brutal.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you'd probably die out there, Gabe. Because
Probably.
you like to get into silly spots.
Yeah.
You wouldn't have enough time to get out of the way now because you get
The
so
last
old.
one, or the one that's coming now, like starting this Sunday, I guess. That was the worst one of all of them because it was the most like, it was just a terrible terrain, not just for the drivers but also for media, because we were in constant waterfalls. Everything was wet the whole time. I had wet feet, I mean soaking wet feet for 20 hours, to a point where, when you get like grandpa feet and everything starts wrinkling. I was
Right.
walking on that for so long that it was so sore. Every step hurt. Like I had so many folds under my foot that I was walking on that, like, skin was pushing against skin. Dude, it was terrible. It was so
I
bad.
felt personally attacked.
When I said old man skin or what? Yeah, but it was terrible. And now imagine that carrying camera gear and carrying lights at night and walking up waterfalls. Everything was slick. Everything was like, ugh. It was, and it got cold because it was September already. Like during the day it was hot, but at night it got chilly. So
Where's this one at?
this one was on a private property on the Tennessee-Alabama state line, but on the Tennessee side. But literally, like, you can walk to Alabama if you wanted to, like, right on the line. And private property, I'm sure at this point I can say it because on Sunday everybody will know this anyway. So Jake Berkey, everybody probably knows, Busted Knuckle Off-Road, big rock bouncer, fabricator, and parts distributor. His family, or his wife's family, owns pretty much an entire mountain. And that's where we went. Basically, every trail that mountain has was built when made for rock bouncers. So, and then us idiots came along and tried to push the Jeeps through it. So, yeah.
So before we go on, for those that aren't familiar with Marvin or Flex Rocks and Rollovers, Marvin has a YouTube channel, and it's Flex Rocks and Rollovers. It's pure action Jeep, buggies,
Off-road adventures at this
Off-roads.
point. Off-road adventures, extreme off-road adventures. I guess if you want to
Right.
title it, that's what we do.
And for the past 4 years, you started 2 different series. One is Reign of Rocks, and the other is
Yeah.
24 Hell and Back.
Correct. Rainer Rocks we kind of put to the side. Unfortunately, it's not really a thing right now. We may bring it back one day, but Rainer Rocks was a rock crawling competition, literally, for YouTube. That we kind of pushed to the side. 24 Hell and Back is still going. 24 Hell and Back is a team challenge where you tackle like completely insane trails for 24 hours straight, but as a team effort. And yeah, that's been going into season 6 now, starting this Sunday. And then we have a new format that basically replaced Rain or Rocks, kind of, which we call Hell and Back Adventures. So basically a 24 Hell and Back without the 24, where we were like, hey, let's do trails that take longer than 24 hours, or, you know, where we don't have a time limit and where we camp and we sleep in the middle of the trail to make more progress the next day. Kind of like super hardcore overlanding, but without camp spots and without rooftop tents and without any kind of that stuff. Like,
You're not pulling a trailer?
no trailers, no nothing. Like, where we even downgrade. We started with tents. The first one we had tents, And then we learned that our Jeeps don't even have enough space for tents, because for a tent, you need a tent, you need a cot, you need a sleeping bag, you need this, you need that, and then bam, you have no more space in your
What do you
rig.
mean cot?
Like just something to sleep on. Like
No,
if it-
you got a sleeping bag. You sleep on the inside of the tent on
yeah,
the
that's
ground.
that's miserable. So now we went in the other direction, and
Bunch of pussies.
nah, dude. Now we swear by hammocks. We're just hammocking it now. Like we're not even bringing tents anymore. We just bring hammocks. So we've done now 3 trips with nothing but a hammock, no tent, no nothing. A hammock and a tarp we put over, so in case it rains, you kind of have something that keeps you dry. And that's it. But it's super nice and compact, and it's like we swear by it now. I've never had such good sleep in the middle of nowhere than in a hammock. Like it's
So,
phenomenal.
Now you're a
Yeah, the-
bear burrito.
Yeah,
No, seriously,
do you-
hammock is
do you use those
hammock is
cool
my go-to
BFG?
now. Also,
BFG hammocks.
No, I have one of those, but I'm scared. I don't know. I don't want. I have one. It was like a Christmas gift, so years ago. So I have one of those, but no, we got like one with like I said, the BFG. Like I have one with a rain, like a optional rain tarp, I guess, as a mosquito net and a rain tarp.
Okay.
But no, but yeah, long story short, Hallenbeck Adventures is a format we launched this year that is now hardcore trails, long distances, and 3 to 5 days. Like the first one was 3 days, second one we did was 5 days. Who knows what we're getting into next year, but that's kind of the name of the game. And honestly, my new love, I'm not saying that 24 Hallenbeck I don't love. I love that stuff just as much, but like these adventure trails and covering like really like having to sleep on the trail, not knowing where you are, not knowing how long this is going to take, having to rationize food, figuring out supplies. You never know. Like it's been really, really fun. The few that we've done now have been incredible. So super pumped to do more of those next year. And then, yeah, I guess one other thing that's new as of this year is like international stuff, right? So like we really Will and I flew to Malaysia to the Rainforest Challenge, which is a big off-road race in Asia. Pretty much the international version of a King of the Hammers, I guess.
Mhm.
It's bigger and older and crazier than KOH is by far. And in the jungle of Malaysia for 10 days. And we did that and did a video about it. And it was more of a bucket list thing for me. And Will was stupid enough to say yes and join me. And this hit,
Well,
I mean...
Well, he is from Miami, so.
Oh,
it's
yeah,
probably-
you would think so.
So it's probably like normal life on the freeway in Miami.
You show him a freaking tiny little spider and he freaks out, and here I come and taking him to the freaking Borneo rainforest. So that was great. No, like it was brutal, but luckily that video did phenomenal. It's over 500,000 views now in like 8 or 9 months. So now that gives us a reason to continue that venture. And again, another little spoiler of what's coming, but we just came back from Colombia. Will is Colombian. So we're like, hey, there's a rainforest challenge in Colombia now for the first time that just happened in October. So Will and I packed our bags and flew to Colombia and spent another 5 days in the jungle of Colombia together with Brad from Warren. Actually, he came with us. So we had a really, really good time doing that. So that's the kind of stuff that we're now pretty much up to. What makes the channel is like the crazy, super hardcore 24-hour Hallenbeck stuff. Then the more adventurous, multi-day camping, still hardcore wheeling, but different. And then the international stuff, which I really want to push next year as well, and hopefully double and triple up on the amount of international wheeling that we can get in, and like just adventures outside the United States.
I think you should head over to Finland for those big mountain.
Oh, the Formula
Sand.
off-road stuff? Yeah, that'd be cool too. Yeah,
Yes.
Formula off-road, yeah, super cool.
Yep.
Now, dude, Australia is on my list too. I would love to see Australia, and there's so much cool stuff out there. That's definitely on my list.
Yeah, you need to do a cliffhanger. I think it's called Cliffhanger Challenge. It's all winching.
Oh, yeah.
It's all mud, all winching. They run out of the vehicles, big winches on the big worn, like giggle pin winches.
I'm talking to the Queensland Winch Truck Club. It's like an off-road club, and they watched our video about Rainforest Challenge Malaysia, like their club, I don't know, at their annual hangout, and got hooked on it and registered. Like we're all drunk as hell and registered, and literally and shipped 3 trucks from Australia to Malaysia.
Wow.
To compete, and they just got done, and they did fairly well actually. But the guy, like we talk on Instagram, on Facebook now, every now on, super cool guys, and yeah, it's a big thing. Australia is super diverse off-road community. Like I always thought majority is like overlanding and bushcraft stuff. No, like
we go and tear shit up.
Yeah, there's a lot of really, really cool stuff too. I mean, Australia is such a beautiful country that even the overlanding is it's, for me at least, more interesting, definitely, and makes it super extreme because of the crazy distances you cover and how far in the middle of nowhere you are. Like a broken U-joint can be a life and death decision right there, because you're not getting anywhere anytime soon to fix that.
No, it's like I was up in the high country and broke a tie rod on my 4Runner. I left it there overnight. I had to drive 6 hours to get a part.
Yeah.
You're in the middle of nowhere.
It's not like here, like you have a Napa 35 minutes away from wherever you are. Right. Nope. Yeah. So
it'll be good.
So did any of these ideas sprout from the first time that we wheeled together in Moab?
Boy, man, everything kind of built up. Everything, you know how this goes. Everything leads to another, but yeah, back then, that was definitely one of the driving factors when I've considered doing a YouTube channel. Like one of the, when I was spitting out content ideas, I was referring to that night. Like, oh, imagine we would have had that on, or would have, I mean, we did have some video, but like, imagine we would have really documented that on video.
Right.
What a crazy thing that would have been. So that was definitely something I refer to, and I will never forget.
None of us will forget that week.
No.
Yeah. I mean, because you had 3 different instances of breaks, all scattered on one trail, different areas on one trail. And then we're trying to get one other person who was limping also in to rescue us, try to meet us on a trail that he's never been on before. So
and nobody knew that the other person that was getting parts for him also broke down. Like there was no cell phone service. So Chris thought, oh, there's like 3 guys getting parts from me. And then another broke down. And then that guy was like, oh, there's 2 more guys getting parts from me. And then another guy broke down, and so on and so forth. Nobody knew that nothing was happening.
Well, nobody knew what was going on. We all see headlights and we go, yeah, they're coming. And you watch them go the other way.
Yeah. That was the most depressing part of it all. is you see headlights, that's them. And then they turn away, that's not them. Shit.
Yeah. No. It all, one thing comes to another, man. Like we all wouldn't be here without, everything just happens for a reason, I guess.
Happy accidents.
Happy accidents, exactly.
Yeah. I mean, that was a shitty night, but I mean, look at everything that sprouted from it, really.
But I was kind of glad Armando wasn't there, because he would have just sat in the car the whole time.
I would have just walked fucking home.
Yeah. It would probably been
fuck you people. I would have just been walking the whole night. I wouldn't have stopped.
The faster, smarter decision.
Yeah.
But
no, because if I sit, I'd be cold. I'd be cold. At least if I walk, I can go. Okay, I'm gonna do a little running here and there to warm myself up, and then be good. Dude, a little bit of running, like 50 yards of running, then I'll be warm enough, and I'll run a die, and then I walk a little longer.
We weren't cold at all. I started a fire.
You started. I was cold. I was sitting in the middle of the desert, laying on top of my spiderweb shade, like on my roll cage, and just waiting for my rig to cool down, because I kept blowing fuses and I didn't have any coolant. I was by myself. There was nobody left. It was dark. It was just me, my Jeep, and pitch black dark desert of Moab, crippling every couple, a couple 100 feet until it started to overheat again. Quit it, kill it, sit, let it cool off, drive a little bit, sit there, kill it, drive a little bit, like the whole night. Yeah, anyways, but hey, that honestly refers back to what I said earlier with me and what my idea of good content is nowadays is like misery, man. Like, long story short, but like for us, the best videos and the best stories happen when absolute everything goes to shit. Like, that's when things really, really become fun. And I don't know. Now, Will and I said that when we did our last Hellenbeck adventure, we were on a trail called the Kentucky Adventure Trail, which is a 1,000-mile overland loop around Kentucky, and we did a small section of it. And usually something that's fairly easy, just through the woods. But it downpoured. It literally rained cats and dogs for hours, to a point where there was no more forward movement. We were sliding into trees. We were literally winching for every foot, and it was downpouring on us the whole time. And we were just laughing at each other because it's like, we're in this. We're never going to get out of here. Like, it's like, this is it. Like, It took us hours to make any kind of progress. And we said later, like, man, we strive in these situations now. We shine in them because we know, we're going to tell a good story and we'll never forget this night. So that's really and most wheeling days are like that. A really clean day of wheeling where nothing happens, nothing breaks. You go in, you go out, and
it's like,
it's whatever. It's the strife and the shit that makes for the fun stories.
Yeah, and how you make friends. Look how we all bonded over that night. You know what I mean? Like, that's like, I don't know.
I'm pretty sure it was just me. So Marvin, you never met any of them before either, did you?
No.
Troy Gate and I
we knew each other, but
we knew each other, but had nothing to do with each other. And I think Troy Gate and I knew before.
Yeah, well, I didn't know anybody apart from Marvin.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But that night changed everything. Well, and I knew Jeremy Hopper because he came with me. But apart from that, Marvin was the only person I knew.
Yeah. Oh man, wild day.
Well, it wouldn't have never happened if he didn't get into off-roading in Germany as a kid. So how did that happen? Because that's the most unlikely place for us in the States.
100%.
To hear that there's
even
wheeling.
For people in Germany or in people in Europe, like it's Yeah, no, to my dad, man. Honestly, my dad had
blame the old man.
Yeah, my dad had a Land Rover and like that he broke and drove over like farm fields with for fun, like before I was born. And when I was born, he needed something a little more reliable and bought a YJ, like brand new off the dealership. And that was pretty much it.
That just sounds funny. That just sounds funny.
Something
I need something more reliable. Let's buy a fucking YJ.
I mean, from a Land Rover, like anything.
Yes, from a Land Rover, that's more reliable. But it's like a Honda minivan, like a BMW, a Volkswagen, like something.
I mean, you guys all know my dad, but he also had a Mini Cooper. That was his like another. I'm not talking about the OG Mini Cooper.
The mini.
The Mini Cooper, and like for everybody that knows my dad,
we need to see a photo. We need to get a photo of that.
I have photos of the Mini Cooper somewhere, but never with him in it, unfortunately. Which that's what would make the picture. Like,
well, all you gotta figure is watch The Incredibles.
Yeah,
Incredible in the car. That's exactly what it looked like in my mind.
That's exactly what it did. Like, yes, no. Anyways, but like, yeah, my dad had a YJ then, and then got into an off-road club. We joined a local off-road club, which like we had sand quarries and rock quarries in the area where the owners would open their gates on the weekends and let us play there. And we would, in Europe, what's big is like we call it trial. So like they take like little wooden sticks with a like plastic ball on top and set gates really tight and really technical. And therefore you can make, like, if you have a few hills, a few mud holes, and a little bit of off camber, you can make a rowdy course by just setting it really difficult. And then you get judged by how many backups, how many this, how many that, and how close you get to the little wooden sticks. And if the ball on top would fall down, negative points. If you break the stick, negative points. If you back up, negative points. So, you learn really technical driving with a YJ on 31s, 32s with open differentials, and then eventually a locker, and then 33s, and then 35s, and 35s. I think we had 35s at some point, and he went backward to 33s because it's like, that's too crazy. It's too much. It's way too much. Yeah, back then that was huge.
35s are like 42s.
Yeah.
Right.
So anyways, but like,
back in 1932.
And then we started to do like stuff like, because in Germany itself, it really all came down, at least in our little bubble we were in, it all came down to like sand quarries and rock quarries, which was fun, but like not pretty of any kind. So Then we had to venture out. Eventually, we had an off-road park, a real off-road park we went to in Belgium. That was like an hour away from where we lived. And we're called Bierstein, just like the Shock brand, actually. So that's where we went to a couple of times, and that's where we then really, I don't know, met other people, and like, I don't know, it kind of developed a little bit from there. And then I was old enough to have my own four-wheeler and follow my dad in a four-wheeler. And then we signed up for something called the Jeepers Jamboree in France, and did that 2 or 3 years in a row. And that's like a full week-long event where they travel all through France and have all kinds of off-road competitions and little, like, you know, little stages. It was almost like a rally, and like you drive into a town with 400 or 500 Jeeps would roll into these little French towns. Kids would ask for autographs and whatnot back in the 90s, you know. It was super cool. So yeah, that's how we started. And then eventually my dad moved to the States, and then the first thing he did was buy a YJ in the States and continue all of this. So yeah, one thing led to another.
So for anyone who doesn't know, Marvin's dad is Axel Stammel,
right,
the owner of Axel Off-Road, and they do some very cool protective gear for your heads. So when you're in a buggy, you're in a side-by-side, and you're whatever, they offer protection for your head to keep your noggin out. Yeah, there's one up there. Yeah, there's one up there.
Famous pink one.
And I've known Axel for a long time. That's how Marvin and I met, because he was doing shows with his dad back in the day. And really, really good company, really good products. I'm doing a commercial now.
No, yeah, either way, but yeah.
But yeah, just so anyone doesn't know, I mean, we all know who your dad is, and you say dad, and we're like, yeah, but
Axel
other people that are
Off-Road.
listening, Axel Off-Road is the name of the company, and he does these really cool helmets to keep your brains in your head.
Correct. So, after
So-
beating our own heads up for years, we eventually found a solution for it.
Were you in grade school or high school when you came to the States?
Oh, right after college, I had a really rough school career, and really just weaseled my way through school and got into college. Even though I messed up absolutely every step of the way, I figured my way out to get accepted to a private marketing university in Cologne. That was a marketing school, literally just a college for marketing. That's it. But really well known in that scene. If you wanted a marketing job, that's like the school you wanted to go to. And I weaseled my way into there. German school system works a little bit different, but I basically finished high school just like that, just good enough to be able to continue my school career afterwards, and then did a higher education degree, or was in the middle of a higher education degree, and only with that degree I would have been allowed to go to a university. But I messed up bad, and I was about to get kicked out. Like I was the how do you call the guy that runs the school? Whatever.
Principal.
Principal pretty much told me like I'm either gonna you have 2 weeks and you're gone. So before I write you off, go figure your way out before it says that you got kicked out. You better want to leave before you get kicked out. And I used those 2 weeks to shit talk that marketing school into believing that I have a huge marketing career in front of me and I got it switched now. I need to get in there now before the semester starts. And I got that window perfect in order to basically sign on with them, thinking that I was about to graduate from that school, but I was really about to get kicked out. So, and then that got me into that school, and I was able to graduate fairly quickly by really punishing then from there on, I did good because I did something I actually enjoyed doing, and with cool people and cool teachers. So then I did fairly well with that and was able to graduate a little bit earlier because I did a hardcore. You were able to graduate a year sooner if you did full-time work in the marketing industry and went to school full-time. So I literally went to school four or 5 times a week till midnight. And then, got up early in the morning, went to work until, 5 o'clock, got into a train, drove an hour and a half to that school, sat there till midnight and did it all over again the next day for 2.5 years. And that's how I got done also soon. I graduated with 21, which is pretty good for having a bachelor degree.
So. Yeah.
And where were you living at the time?
Cologne, Germany. Yeah.
You were in Cologne, and the school was in Cologne.
Yes, correct. But
you worked
my job was in Düsseldorf, which is
it was in Düsseldorf. Oh yeah,
so a good train ride ahead.
That nice train ride.
Yeah. Driving it's only like 45 minutes, but like, if you take a train, which I did back then, it takes you about an hour and a half to get there and back every time.
What's Dusseldorf famous for?
Düsseldorf is famous for mustard. The world's best mustard comes out of Düsseldorf, for example. And big conventions. A lot of really big international trade shows and conventions happen there. It's a pretty city. Beer, old beer.
But the Düsseldorf car, it was a car manufacturer, the Düsseldorf.
No, that's something else. Düsseldorf. Like, it sounds similar, but it's something different.
Isn't Düsseldorf there?
Duesenberg.
Duesenberg.
Yes, that's it. But no,
and that's not German.
It sounds very German. It may be. I don't know.
I think the Dusseldorf was American made.
The it might be probably German immigrants or something that had that name. Yeah. The name sounds extremely German.
Yeah, it's very German.
But I think it's an American thing. Yeah. But yeah, Düsseldorf mustard, man. If you want to nerd out and have something to put on like any kind of meat or sandwich, Düsseldorf mustard is delicious. Nice. You can get it on Amazon.
Chris, do you hear that? In case there's no ketchup around for tacos, you just smear some mustard on some tacos.
Dude, I got so many people. There's German ketchup and German is. Their mustard game is. We have so many different kinds, but then also there's a really famous German ketchup, and I got so many people hooked on that stuff that I have like an Amazon subscription for both now. Like Ian Johnson's wife, like all the way down to her. She's like, no, this is part of our fridge inventory now for good. Like they don't even.
What's in it?
It's just like the mustard is just the purest form of mustard. So you have a regular, like you can have it spicy, mild, or sweet, and they all taste very different. The sweet mustard is for a sandwich about the best thing you can put on a sandwich. It's really sweet, but all natural stuff. And then also the medium is just like a really pure good mustard flavor, and then the spicy one is almost, I don't want to say like horseradish. It tastes nothing like horseradish, but it has the same kind of spiciness than a horseradish has.
That mustard.
Yeah. So you can get several different ones.
Is it a ground mustard, like a stone ground mustard?
Yeah, I think so. It has nothing in it. The sweet mustard has a little bit of texture to it, has like little like mustard seeds in it, but the medium and the spicy one is just the like your yellow mustard, but like same consistency as your yellow mustard, but super crazy fresh, and yeah, that's really like what they're throughout Europe what they're famous for. Yeah.
So you come to the United States, and then at what point do you decide to do the shows?
The off-road shows? That was after Axle Off-Road. So my dad and I started Axle Off-Road, the helmet company, together. Did that for 2 or 3 years and literally struggled hard, but pulled through with it. Let me back up one more thing. So I graduated, did my whole entire thing, figured out, moved to America with 21, but because of, like I said, because of an internship. So in Germany, when I went to college, like I said, I had to have a full-time job. So I worked for a record label in Germany, for a hip-hop label, German hip-hop rap music, but like pretty much like Death Row Records of Germany. Like everybody knew them, like really, really big stuff. Like for me, like dream come true to work there. Like I was a huge fan and like literally got a job. First, also started as an internship, turned into a job later, and I did that, loved it. And my uncle, who also lived in the United States, he has a business. He does simultaneous translations. So like for big events, if somebody speaks French and you have a little plug in your ear and you can hear him in English or whatever, that's his job. And he had a client in New York City, and needed to get it because of that. It's like a big client that he had to work for a lot. And he'd say, I have to get an apartment in New York for 18 months. So I got 18 months where I have this place in New York City. And my neighbor owns a record label in New York City called Easy Star Records. They are really big into reggae music, and they're looking for an international intern that could also potentially turn into a job. So if you want, you can live at my place and work for them for a while, and if you don't like it, you can always go back. And I was like, dude, I'll never get a chance like this again. Like, live in New York City, like, for free, basically, because I have family that has an apartment there. That will never happen again. So I jumped on that and did that and lived in New York for 18 months and kind of realized that if you're not super fan of the music you're working for, you're promoting, it's kind of just a 9-to-5 office job. Like, loved living in New York, and liked the music. Don't get me wrong. I liked the music, but I wasn't like passionate about it, and therefore it was literally just a 9-to-5. So, and my dad had an ad agency in Germany and was in the middle of a midlife crisis / burnout, completely done with it, couldn't freaking sleep, and like was completely destroyed by it and wanted something else. And while I was in New York, I kind of missed the whole off-road thing because music scene in New York City, like that hobby was completely dead. So I started Flex Rocks and Rollovers, what I do now, then and there in New York, as a Facebook page. Social media just started, so I did a Facebook page called Flex Rocks and Rollovers just to share off-road trips from me and my dad and like viral off-road content, cool stuff. I saw, the beginning of Facebook, everybody had a page to just share random photos of other people, you just, whatever, early days of social media. So that's what I did too, and grew a following fairly quickly. Within a couple of months, essentially, I had, I think, 20,000 followers, which was huge back then. And there was like, oh my God, I got to turn this into a business. And then that's kind of how the Axle Off-Road came about. Is like, we wanted to, do this business together and then use Flex Rocks and Rollovers Facebook kind of for a launch pad a little bit to start promoting, because you thought like, I have 20,000 Facebook followers. If only, 10% of them buy a helmet. Oh my God. Yeah, right. Yeah,
2%.
So, yeah, if even that. So yeah, that's kind of how that started. And then we did to get to your question, we did Axle Off-Road for 3 years, struggled really hard, really bad, learned absolutely everything the hard way. And then, but kind of realized that since we were based in Atlanta, there wasn't really any off-road industry shows in Atlanta. Like, we got invited to come to the Off-Road Expo in Pomona and looked at that and was like, oh my God, this is like so much more professional and like, bigger than we assumed. But we don't have a show like this anywhere outside of California. So that, and my dad, because of his ad agency background, did a lot of trade shows back in the days and helped organize trade shows back then, or setups for companies that went to trade shows. Let's put it that way. So I had some experience with it. So yeah, that's how he was like, oh, we got to try this. And that he started the idea of that. And then I continued Axle Off-Road for a while and was super like, I don't want to do that. And he ran with it. And eventually it got big enough where I'm like, okay, twist my arm. And then Axle Off-Road was kind of put on ice for a while. We never killed it, but just kind of put on ice. And then we got head over heels into this off-road trade show business that probably took 20 life of my lifespan, and yeah, got PTSD for the rest of my life whenever I walk into an event. That's how we, that's true. No, good time and huge, contributor to that got me where I am now and made contacts that I'm still benefiting from and whatnot. So I can't talk bad about it, but it definitely took the life out of me.
Mm-hmm. No, it was a well put together event for a number of years, and then the venue changed from Kentucky to Nashville. I think that was the worst hit that it could have ever taken. Is that
but we were forced
going into that fairgrounds, and that fairgrounds was terrible.
Yeah, no, we were forced for that. The Kentucky show was awesome, but then what made the Kentucky show was having that big outdoor space with an off-road course and race exhibitions and whatnot. And they took that outdoor space away from us, which 50% of our show was outside. All of a sudden we didn't have that anymore. But because the trade show, the expo center in Kentucky never considered that yeah, part of their like it was their property, but they never made their money with that. So it wasn't. We basically always got that part for free. We had to pay an obnoxious amount of money to rent the expo center, but we got that part for free. So, but when they take it away and we're like, no, we don't offer this anymore because we're now building on this property. We still had to pay the same price. So like we would have still paid an ungodly amount of money to rent the Kentucky Expo Center without any outdoor exhibitions, without any off-roading, nothing. So we had to move. We were like, we can't afford, like we were struggling to afford this place in the first place, but now you're cutting away 50% from our shows and you're still charging the same. Like we had to move. And then Nashville, like unfortunately didn't work out the way we thought.
It was good for me.
That fairgrounds was just terrible.
Yeah, but it was also, we honestly committed to that. We knew it wasn't great, but that was the last year it would have been. That, so like with that year that we all suffered through would have only been that year. They tore it completely down and had it rebuilt within a year or two after that already. So like this would have been only a one-time thing under the in the condition that it was in, and the next time around it would have already been renovated for the most part. So that's why we kind of just like, okay, we muscle through 1 year of a super outdated and kind of gross expo center, and then it'll be all nice again, you know. But yeah, it didn't make it that far.
2014?
No, 14 was the first one actually. So it went from
the first one. That was like 19
2019.
It went from 19 was kind of the end.
Like, Chris knows that year. Chris knows that year very well.
Yeah.
That's why I said that show was good for me.
Yeah.
Chris knows that date very well.
Yeah.
I don't know if I follow.
That's the year Chris got divorced.
Oh yeah, no, I do follow with that. Yes.
Yeah.
I helped you move out. No, that was wild.
I like that show. I still like that show anyway. It was like it was like ground roots, like just a outdoor fair.
Yeah, really was. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, and the next year with a new location would have been better. The problem is that year was so bad. It was so bad. And it wasn't anything you guys did. It was the facility.
Yeah,
and the people
I know.
And the facility side screwed everything. Like
but even
there was people that were camping on site.
Yeah,
they couldn't move in, and they just did a lot of stupid things. And
it was bad. But that was never what really killed the show. Honestly, that was just, we would have survived that year if we wanted to, but it was more, you know, having every other event. We had one event that worked out from the weather, and that was a terrible event because of the facility. But the four, you know, remember, we didn't just have one show. We had 4 shows at the end, 4 shows in 4 different locations. And all the other ones got completely rained out. I'm talking side, or Georgia, rain. Texas. The other Crystal Beach one was a disaster in southern Texas. So like every other show was affected by something else. So we just took a year and a half of really hard hits. And like when Nashville, then, you know, the weather was fine, but everything else went to crap. I pulled the trigger. My dad still held onto it for another 6 months. I think he did one more show in Texas after that by himself.
Yeah, he tried to do some stuff, and I think it was kind of like it was just done.
Yeah.
That was they were my
COVID
favorite
hit
shows
then too.
Yes.
Honestly, what really then happened, my dad did one more show, and it was really just him trying to refigure, like he wanted to reinvent it a little bit, and like was a little having some hiccups with it, but he still didn't want to give up on it. But then COVID, I mean, for us, I have to say, I mean, I know for a lot of people, COVID had probably, you know, has a bad taste, but for us, the best thing that could have ever happened, because it got him to finally pull the trigger from the show. For me, it was like, in the meantime, went from when I quit unlimited off-road shows to the start of YouTube Flexworks and Rollovers. Like I said, it was a social media pages for a long time already, but the transition to YouTube, in between that, I had a little marketing media ad agency thing called 0 to 60 Media. I was making doing marketing work for automotive companies, and that time window in between. But then COVID hit, and every marketing budget in the world was gone. So I was forced to go full time with YouTube, and if that wouldn't have happened, I would have I had 8,000 subscribers when I went full time YouTube. That is the dumbest thing you can ever do.
but the time was right. It was a time to grow that.
And I had to commit.
People were looking for some sort of adventure. They were stuck
at
home.
But
everybody who came out on YouTube.
They just want to watch someone else having fun.
Yeah.
So,
and for me, it was good because I think I took it so serious because it was my only chance at this point. I had no more options. I had no more marketing work, income. I had only this. So I think without this hard reality check, I would have never really elevated this from a hobby to a business. You know what I mean? I think if I would have just I do this for a hobby, for fun, it would have eventually died out because I got busy with actual work,
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
So at what point do you get the Jeepster, and at what point do you get the Jeepster?
Jeepster
pretty much
during unlimited off-road shows.
With the Hemi and all just the way it is now.
The Jeepster I bought right when I moved to the United States. So literally, the money, I had a Ford Mustang in Germany that I imported myself from the United States to Germany during dollar crisis here in 2008, where I made, European money, and I brought my European money to America and was able to afford a really nice car for very cheap and imported myself. So I sold that in Germany with a large profit, and all that money that I had, I poured straight into buying a Jeep over here and then going all out with a build. Well, that I had no idea what I was doing. So that took 5 long years and a lot of wasted, burnt money to realize. But no, the Jeepster got done in 2017. So we were already doing shows then for 2 to 3 years at that point. So yeah, but way before YouTube. So the Jeepster was never a YouTube car or anything. That was just my vision of a cool Jeep. That's it.
Well, it's one of my favorite builds that's out there.
Thank you.
Every time I see it, I kind of gush a little bit.
No, I think everybody does that.
I love that Jeep, man. I just don't want to I'm getting to the verge of its biggest benefit is its biggest handicap at the same time, because for me also, it's a beautiful Jeep and it's my dream Jeep in that sense. And every time I wheel it, I'm I don't want to mess it up. And we wheel way too hard for that, where I do. I mean, I've rolled it at this point and things have happened, but the F's I'm giving about this vehicle are on dead empty. I have no more. So I'm literally at a point, I'm this close to just saying, you know what, let's just screw it. I'm just going to do what I want to do. So I need to start building something new. This thing is 8 years old now and it's tired.
It's had a few rebuilds.
It's had a few rebuilds, which is good. And I'm I think the last 2 rebuilds have been a lot more, most of it was cosmetical, just new paint, a lot of fixing body damage and whatnot. This time around, if I would do that again, it would be a lot more a swap, the frame is cracked in 70 spots and welded and welded and welded and welded. And it's so tired in so many ways that before I really destroy this thing, I need to start something new. And that's really what I'm hoping to realize here soon. But, at least started, not realize in terms of bam, there's a new rig, but at least, start to collect parts and whatnot. The Jeep is right now in Miami at Will's shop. So we're cutting the whole suspension off right now and putting the RPM suspension under it and changing it to bigger coilovers and putting a little bit of work on that end, because the last hell and back was a disaster, an absolute disaster. So to a point where I was about to set this thing on fire on the trail. I had not a minute went by without something going to crap on this thing. And even though I poured a lot of time and money into maintenance and preparing this thing for hell and back, and nothing that I touched actually broke, but everything else did.
It's getting old.
It's getting old, and it's really, I'm chasing my tail now. I'm dumping more and more and more money into this, trying to, not be that guy every time I take it out. I'm the trail plug because something breaks again, but it's whatever I don't touch every time is what gives up. The most random stuff. So it is what it is, but like we're keeping it alive, and I don't want to destroy it, like I said, and I want to keep it for like the adventure style trips and, camping and stuff like EJS and whatnot. It's great. And then I still have my little Toyota now that is getting a little got a revamp last year. That'll be kind of a side hero this year too. And then I want something that's like really, really rowdy. The idea is like to have the Jeepster of what the Jeepster is, and the Toyota is basically like its capability ends where the Jeepster starts, and whatever I'm now building starts where the Jeepster ends. So I don't want to have something twice, like just something for every occasion, so to say.
Well, that Toyota, I think it shreds.
It's cool, and it's got a Jeep motor now. We put a 3.8 Jeep motor in it with a manual Jeep transmission, the 6-speed, and a Rubicon transfer case. So it's basically a JK now.
It's going to break down all the time now.
Yeah, I mean, since we did it, it hasn't run, and then put nothing.
Well, welcome to the Jeep world.
Nothing but problems. But before, I mean, it was a really cool thing I did with Ian Johnson. Like we did the whole project together, and it's just like we ran out of time at the end, and I just had to bring it home. And it's like, honestly, the fuel pump gets hot randomly, and like it's little stuff. It's like probably a week worth of chasing little tiny bugs that have, big impact on the car. And that's really it. I'm not making a big secret out of it. I am not a great mechanic. Like I know my way about installing stuff and working on stuff, but I'm not a good, like, analyze what's wrong with it and chasing fuel delivery issues and chasing electronic issues, and that's really all it is at this point.
I'm pretty sure you don't have any patience either, Marvin.
Zero when it comes to that. I have paid with certain things I do, but not with that. Like, and I don't have a shop. This would mean I'm laying on the ground in my driveway and blocking the entire driveway with, like, it's just not like, if I had a decent space, like something to work on, but there's always an excuse, I guess. Like I could totally work on it if I wanted to. I just really don't enjoy it. I don't like it. I like it when I'm with friends. You know what I mean? Like in the scenario of putting a motor in it, being at Ian's shop, having it on a lift, having AC, having music, having somebody to work with. Badass. That was such a good time.
Having a bar full of whiskey.
Yeah, exactly. Like that really I'm really enjoying it. Or like when I now get to work, fly to Miami and hang out at Will's shop and work with him on that stuff. Cool. But by myself in the driveway, creeping on the floor, never having the right tools. Every time I need something, walking all the way across the driveway to go get what I need, usually not having it, then driving to Napa to go get it. Like, no. Not my jam. And I'm not making it like, dude, it's not even for a lack of not knowing how to. It's just hating it. Absolutely hating it.
So your Jeepster's not in the new 24 Hellenbach then?
It is, but it is. I mean, we kind of drug it along because it's like I said, from the day. So I was at Busted Knuckle. Busted Knuckle Off-Road was kind of our headquarter for interviews and whatnot. And, when we go there nowadays, we arrive 2-3 days early, shoot B-roll of everything, set up everything. So doing that whole time, I'd unloaded the Jeepster and just drove around in my Jeep every day when I had to go to a hotel or, to dinner. I just, unloaded my Jeep when I got there and drove it around perfectly fine. The morning of Hellenbach, we woke up at 6 a.m. from our hotel, drove to like a trailer drop-off location, unloaded the Jeep, cranked it up, and all of a sudden nothing but stuttering and wouldn't run right and was I was literally limping it to Trailhead. And then, I mean, you'll see it in the videos. I don't want to take too much away, but like, there was a lot of issues, and once we found the solution for one issue, another issue showed up, and then there was literally during the entire 24 hours we hit 40 obstacles, there was one obstacle where it was like, bam, it's running right. We finally got it. And I had a lot of frustration built up. So I may have gone a little overboard, but like I came out on top and drove over a little rock, literally like a rock size of, I don't know, my laptop, and where the tire kind of got hung on. All of a sudden the whole front axle wraps back because I broke a limit strap and knocked the link bar off, and the drive shaft falls out and everything went back to crap. So, oh God, it was really, really frustrating, especially when it's your own event. And I don't need to go out of every Hallenbeck as the craziest, as the hero. And like, I don't need to prove anything to anyone. I don't care, but it's just, I've prepared really hard for this, and I was really excited for some of this. And like, I lost sleep over some of these obstacles, and like literally went there with I was so determined to like, no, I'm going to go there and freaking do it. And then the Jeep wouldn't freaking barely run.
That's who you are though. Everything we've done, like even when we've wheeled together, everything you've done, you've got to complete. Like, it's not like,
yeah,
you want to do it. Like,
yeah. And there was really some stuff. This was my step up. This whole trail system, I went out there in April already. So Brad from Warren, Jake Berkey, and I started to scout. The first time I went out there was just Jake Berkey and another friend to scout it in April. Then I was having 5 months of barely any sleep, and this is too hard. And then I went back with Brad from Warren to show him, to get a second feel for it from a Jeep guy, not a buggy guy. And he was like, oh no, this is awesome. I was like, if you say so, we're going to do it. Hell yeah. And then we ended up doing it there. But like ever since then, there were 2 or 3 obstacles from this trip where I'm like, this is my nemesis. Like stuff that I literally, I lost sleep over, because I was like, I'm gonna die. I'm literally gonna die. If this goes wrong, I'm gonna die. But I was so determined. The morning we woke up, I was like, this is like, I'm gonna own all of these here today, and then I couldn't. So that frustrated me until today.
On Sunday.
Yeah, well, Sunday is the first episode. We always build up to it. So first episode is the introduction of all the drivers. So this year we kept it a secret. Nobody knows, other than a few guys. Obviously, I'm there. Obviously, Jake Berkey is there because he's the freaking host of this year. But everybody else, I don't think anybody knows really who's participating this year. So that will be unveiled on Sunday. Vehicles will get introduced. We have a little fun game prepared for this. Is something we started last year already. So now on the opening day, on the interview day, we always have a game. I always come up with something else that's really like nerve-wracking, that you have to play, all the drivers have to play against each other, and then somebody wants to be the winner, and at the end they say, okay, whoever is the winner now has to decide who has to go first the next day. So you have to call somebody out. It's not the winner goes first. Nobody wants to go first. So the winner has to call out whoever has to go first. So we did that, that was fun and made a big difference. And just a bunch of little other cool stuff. So the Sunday video is very entertaining. And then the Sunday after that is when the 24 hours actually kick off. And then I hope we get 4. I think we get 4 episodes this year out of this. Last year we had 5. This year we had 4, which also tells you we didn't cover as much ground as we did the last couple of years, because it was just brutal. I mean, miles wise we did more, but obstacle wise, we found our limit. Let's put it that way. Last year, everybody, you're never going to top this trail. Well, watch me. I did. But I think this is I think we're going to cap out on here and just maintain from now on. I don't need to top this anymore. This is where we're at home now, and we're just going to maintain from here. I don't know where to do the next one yet, which just sucks. Usually I always, whenever one is releasing, I already have the location for the next year in my mind, and zero clue. Getting tough.
So from the production side, how many days or how many hours are you going through from setup to set tear down?
Well, Hallenbeck always start, like I said, for us, we arrive 2 days early. to set up and shoot B-roll, like all the like nature shots and drone shots of the woods or of the trail and drone shots of where we are and be like close-ups of certain things, that we knock all this out beforehand. So we're not keeping the whole group by, oh, let me get a drone shot of that bird. No, like nobody wants to wait for that. So we're going to do that all beforehand. So that's 2 days right there. Then now the first day with the participants is just interviews and vehicle walkarounds and, like I said, little games that, define certain things that happen on the trail. That is then the first official day. So hell and back for participants, and hell and back is a 3-day event. Basically, it's the interview day and then 24 hours of off-roading and a big breakfast at the end, and then everybody goes home.
Okay.
So but for us, it's 5 days. For participants, it's 3 days.
Yeah. 24 hours is a long time for people my age, especially if.
Oh, and it's never 24 hours. That's when it starts. But you get up 3 hours before that, and then you tear down 5 hours after that, and you clean your camera equipment. Or we feed everybody after we're done. So big breakfast all together, limp your broken stuff back to the trailer, then tear, like, you after that, you have never seen people load up their vehicles slower than after a hell and back. Like, it will take an hour and a half until the last person left the parking lot. It was like, I don't want to do this.
It's all half-assed.
Yeah, exactly. It is. Everything parts are falling off the rig as he goes down the road because everything's just thrown in. Like, yeah. It's really like that. So for media guys, this is a 30-hour, at least 30-hour. And then something like this time, this was the closest hell and back to home we've ever had. So we drove home afterwards, which usually find the closest hotel and die. But like, it was 2.5 hours from my house. I was like, I'm gonna make it home one way or the other. So we did. Crazy.
I mean, it's a home game, but it's not a home game.
No,
really.
And I really thought it's going to be easier on me because it's so close to home. But that's the bad thing about changing locations and participants every year is no year is like the next. Like, every year is different. Every year has new obstacles, and every time you think you fix something else goes wrong. So it's whatever it is. Yeah.
Have you looked into rock quarries?
Yeah, but like. I mean, I don't know. It depends. I mean, the sand mines are technically a rock quarry or a sand quarry, but it's like, it has to be picturesque. You know what I mean? But I mean, some rock quarries have like really beautiful water, if I think about it. So yeah, theoretically that could work, but like then it's got to be tough enough to kill 24 hours, big enough and tough enough. So tough decision.
And that's some of the problem is like, I suggest a ton of Colorado trails, but once you get done with that trail, that's it.
Yeah. And it's really hard to judge. I've been, I don't know how I pull it off every year, but like every hell and back, I would say the last 3 have been within the hour of 24 hours. This year, and I don't mind spoilering that, this year's hell and back, we finished on the 2nd. The last vehicle crossed the last vehicle crossed the last obstacle and landed on all 4 tires, I think 4 minutes before 24 hours, but then we still had to go back to our starting point, little cabin on the property where we started off, right? And I literally, the last door shut when the timers of the 24-hour, like everybody has a 24-hour timer in a watch pre-programmed, and the watch started to go off when the last door fell into its hinge. It was insane. So it worked out perfectly. But like, we had plan Bs, of course. We had 3 more trails that we could have hit and chosen from no matter where we ended up, that we could have hit afterwards, because we're not if anything, we do more, but we're not doing less than 24 hours. I never want to hear, the rumors behind the scenes, in reality, it's only like 22 and a half hours. Like, no, it's not. It's 24. And it's not 24 from when you unload. It's 24 from when we hit the trail. Yeah.
So what about doing something in the snow?
That's funny you say that. I have 2 text messages on my phone right now from like sponsors and friends that said the same thing and brought it up individually. everybody says like, oh, you need like hell froze over or whatever, dude. I don't think I can get a media team to do that. I don't think you can have.
That would that's a tough ask.
That sounds miserable.
How do you want to do that? You can't even really walk. And if you want to really have snow, like deep snow, you can't even walk. That's like, it's almost like doing it in the Sahara, like in the real desert when you have to walk through like super soft sand. Like you die. You can't do that for 24 hours.
It would all have to be drone.
Yeah, and at that point you're missing the in between, the story, you know.
Yep.
So
and the drone doesn't pick up audio either. So
yeah, so like so Will and I, we want to do a Hell and Back adventure, so the camping format. We want to do that in the snow, like beginning of next year. But then it's just him and I, and we film everything. Maybe one camera guy that can manage it, but he can also stay in the cars with us and warm up or whatever, you know. But yeah, for 24 hours, I think, with night stages and having to walk the entire distance, like the trails at Hell and Back, you know, the camera guys never get back into a vehicle usually. They walk the entire time. We don't have enough cars for all these guys and the equipment either.
So the adventure stuff is just going to be you and Will?
It's always Will and I and plus one. So Will and I, and then we meet up with, in the last 2 times, it was somebody that knew the area we're going to and is a good character, right? So the first one was in Cedar City, Utah, with Thomas from Fab and 801, crazy rock crawler fabricator that showed us one of his like hometown trails that is just gnarly and just a rear steer buggy trail. And then the second one we did with Max Dollinger from Rock Jog 4x4. But I mean, Max has been a really, really close friend since the Expo days in Louisville. So 2014, 10 years now. And like, he's a really good friend. And everybody that knows Max, he's a freaking hoot on camera. He's a character and he is really good with knowing these like hard to find spots in the Southeast. You know, he's been mapping off-road trails longer than I am alive probably, and really, really like, yeah, he really was a huge asset to that trip and helped me put an epic trip together and brought us into locations in Kentucky and Tennessee that nobody's ever heard of, you know. So huge asset to that format. And who knows how we're going to continue this, but like this is how it's been so far. And I think it makes a hell of a difference when it comes to watch character building. You know, 24 Hell and Back, I'm kind of stuck with my 10 people that I have plus minus one. It's always around 10. But like watching the same, like having to cut something in an entertaining way where the same thing happens 10 times in a row is really difficult sometimes, you know. So with 2 or 3, well, with 3 rigs, you can you cover more ground. You don't have to show 3 rigs doing the same thing over and over again, and you can build a character. By the time the video series is over, people really know that person, you know, because he had so much screen time. You're not splitting screen time with 10 different people and their co-drivers. Like that really made a big difference and just a good vibe for the video. So
maybe I think that's one reason. Yeah, that's one reason why I liked Kingdom Crawl is because that's kind of how it was. We didn't have huge groups.
Yeah.
In the series, and our characters were pretty much, if say for example Chris broke down, he's the character for that episode or two. You know, he's building the arc for us because of the breakdown.
Yeah.
Or there's a lot of cases where Diesel Krentz was our character for quite a few episodes. And he carries that arc for you because of his personality.
That makes a big difference, man. It really does. And it's, I don't know, it just makes it easier to watch because when you don't know these people, we're all part of the industry. The chances that you turn on a video from any of us and you know the majority of the people that are in it are high. But like average Joe or somebody that's maybe not even a diehard off-road enthusiast, but just enjoys that style of video, it's hard for them to follow along if you have 10, 15 characters that you've never heard of. And now you got to know when this guy refers to Bob, who's Bob? Who's Bob now? You know, gets tough. So I really prefer keeping the group small. It sucks because like there's so many people out there that I want to wheel with and I'm personally friends with and I love, but like I may have to turn down because it's my business at this point, and there may be a better option for, you know, somebody that's better on camera and has a cooler rig and has bigger, whatever, just makes it different, you know. I can't always go with who's my best buddy anymore, you know.
Yeah. Sometimes you have to put the titties in front of the camera to get the clicks.
Yeah, it's not even that.
Nah.
I mean, nobody
No, I don't. No. I can say that.
I don't know what that reference is about from
yes.
Gabriel.
Marvin is not that.
No,
butt plugs here.
Nobody knows what Max's titties look like, and we still got pretty good response.
So here's an idea. Every time we go to Pritchett Canyon, there's friends that we always talk about it. What if we just rented some stock Jeeps?
Oh yeah, you're speaking my language.
And Will Pritchett in stock.
Yeah,
Jeeps.
that honestly, the Toyota is going to be my weapon of choice for the next EJS. I'm not going to even bring my Jeep, or the Jeep stays in the booth at the vendor show, but that's why I have the Toyota for that kind of stuff, because I've given up trying to fight that I don't want to go to EJS anymore, because I've seen it all, done it all. I've done every video I can think of in Moab, and I've tried to fight it for a while. I'm like, I'm not going. I just it's expensive and I don't get any video out of it because I've done it all. Well, bring a different vehicle that's a lot smaller, and all of a sudden this is a lot more fun. So yes, I agree. So like an old flat fender or a stock TJ, or in my case, Toyota on 32s, like that's the way.
With the shitty JK motor?
With the shitty JK motor? That's what makes it fun. And that's, I think, like I say, going back to the struggle. Struggle makes it fun. And like,
right.
So I'm totally down, man. And I think, I don't know, like a bunch of stock Jeeps or barely stock, like weld the diffs and put them on, like I said, the Toyota's on 315s BFG, which 315 is about a 34, but in BFG, that's like a 32 and a half, 33.
Yeah. Right.
So
So what you need to do is like, what is it? The Gambler series where you have your car is like a
$500.
Yeah, but
so cheap you to go like, okay, we can do like a $5,000 max.
I just want to say inflation. That's a $5,000 nowadays.
Because a $1, everything that used to be $1 is now $5. So
no, $20 is the new $1. Like a $20 bill is what it used to be a $1 bill. That's for sure.
So, we should just all do it in $5,000 max.
Yeah, I think that would be amazing, and I really believe that EJS would have a big. It would do the event well when people would have that mindset and not always bring the biggest, baddest, flashiest, craziest to EJS. Bring the old flat fender, bring the old rusty YJ, and like, I know a lot of people could really use some wheeling lessons in vehicles like that. I think it would really improve their overall driving if they would ever learn how to drive in a vehicle that doesn't do everything by itself.
Yeah,
you actually got to drive. Yeah. So no, I think that's a great idea. You should do that's what you should do. Screw getting back into a huge, crazy, expensive rock roller. Go get yourself something with whatever Jeep with 4-wheel drive, weld the diffs, and just bring it to stuff like that and have a good time.
On 35s, crushing Pritchett.
Yeah.
33s.
33s.
Yeah.
Just like I said, just get a RAV4, put a winch on the front of it, and go.
Jeez.
I think then you spend more money in getting the rig there than you actually get time into wheeling. You at least want something that has the potential of finishing it.
But you know what'll happen? Eventually I'm going to get a Sammy. Because
those things are expensive, dude.
That's where the conversation starts to go down. It's
that breaks the budget.
I'm looking at I look at Samurais, and Samurais are way expensive, like crazy expensive. You can get a flat fender in the same running driving condition than you can get a Samurai nowadays. It's crazy.
You know, it'd be fun
is patrols.
Convert a Honda Acti into a
that would be
into a cab over.
I'm trying to get Will into a budget beater. So, and we're looking at probably a Comanche, and we're thinking about getting him a Comanche and throwing a Toyota motor in it, just to reverse.
He's got a beater. He has a JK.
But that thing. I mean, true, but it's not. It doesn't struggle enough. And we, like I said, a small tire beater, and I would like to get a Comanche or something for him, or XJ or something like that, and we'll go do stupid stuff in cheap small tire vehicles and play the whole game with make it funny for YouTube, where like even the gear we take, let's say we do an overnighter or 3 nights, we'll do like the 3 hardest trails in Moab and camp in between each trail. But like our overall budget for camping gear can't be past $70 or something. And then you have to sleep in the garbage like sleeping bags and like, eat frozen crystal burgers at night because that's all the budget had.
They're gonna be really bad because there's no crystals in Moab.
I'm just making up stuff.
You get one Gilberto's breakfast burrito.
Yeah,
for the whole day.
Yeah, exactly.
That crystal burger is gonna come from Salt Lake City.
Yeah, I think that will be fun, and like that's
Wait,
really
is there a crystal in Salt Lake City?
I hope not. Isn't it White Castle out there, anyways?
No, it's Cane's.
No, Cane's is not the same. It's Crystal and White Castle.
Crystal and White Castle are the same, but White Castle.
But,
yeah, you should throw that out to listeners.
We have White Castle
what do we
here,
take?
but I don't think there's
budget.
one in Salt Lake.
Yeah, drop your leftovers from the day before in this location. That's
whatever's in this box, you get to eat.
Yeah, exactly. Like
the trail box. Snacks for these fools in this race.
Donate for the poor.
Yeah, if you're lucky, you might get gas station sushi.
I've done that too. Oh yeah, I've done it on your trip actually. Yeah. It's where we established trail sushi. Yeah. It was actually a good call. It worked out.
Oh God, no.
It's like Kroger grocery store sushi or pre-made in a box. You don't have to worry about much.
Yeah, but that's just an accident waiting to happen.
No, you buy it like, dude, that was a single day wheeling trip. I bought that like 2 hours before I actually ate it. It was just like I bought it in the morning and ate it for lunch. Like that works.
Yeah.
Nah, that worked. Yeah.
So this new season comes out on Sunday,
and then every Sunday from there until it's this Sunday. Then every
what
Sunday.
What time Sundays are getting released, Marvin?
8:30 a.m. Eastern time on Flex Rocks and Rollovers YouTube channel.
And I'm sure you're gonna share it on your Facebook. And
oh yeah. If you're
else.
on the socials, you won't get around it. For sure. If you want to get a little sneak peek, we already released a video on our YouTube channel last Sunday where I just walk the trail with Jake Berkey and I just show you these obstacles. And it's kind of funny because I made a comment on my Instagram yesterday because I made a video about the trail and the obstacles that's on YouTube. And then yesterday evening I posted I had a couple of photos on my phone and it's literally pictures of rocks. There's not a vehicle on it. There's nothing. It's pictures of rocks. And I posted them on my Instagram and I got 2,000 likes in a few hours. I'm like, I am the only channel on the internet that can post photos of rocks and my audience loves it. And oh yeah, this is badass. Can you imagine? There's no car on it. There's nothing. Nothing's happening. It's pictures of rocks. That's it. And ledges and drippy waterfall, not even waterfalls, just wet rocks.
That's funny.
And people freaked out and had crazy engagement. When before that I posted probably some crazy Jeep rolling down the mountain and yeah, whatever. Yeah, wild.
So we're excited for this new one to come out.
Dude, I'm excited.
And I'm sure people are going to hear it, but I do the voiceovers for...
Correct. I'm sure anybody if people haven't connected those dots, yes, Gabe has been doing the voiceovers for 24 Hell and Back since day one. Yep. Mm-hmm. Even the evil devil voice at the beginning for the intro, that's Gabe's voice. It's just pitched. But
right.
Yeah, that's always been you, man. I really appreciate that. It's really cool.
Problem.
Really cool.
I've been doing 24 Hell and Back, Rain of Rocks, and I did one more other one. I can't remember.
The Trailminator stuff that we did in Moab, I think you did. Yeah, that was just a one-time gig we did. But yeah, and it's it's cool, it's fun. Now I used to not do voiceovers because I thought nobody wants to listen to my stupid German accent in a voiceover. And now I got into it and it's it works and it's fun for me because I can give way more background information, right, about certain stuff that I used to beat myself up about not thinking about this one little detail that would have made the story so much cooler, and then it's not in the video. Now I'm just cool, show some B-roll, let me put the voiceover on and I can share that with you. So I don't know. It's definitely a huge mistake that I carried on for way too long for trying to know everything is on camera. I'm not doing voiceovers. So.
It's like I said to you, everybody likes an accent, Marvin.
I guess so.
Americans love accents.
I guess so.
Doesn't matter if it's Australian, German, it can be anything. They just eat that shit up.
I guess.
I might have to start talking with the more Cuban or Puerto Rican.
Oh man, I mean, Will is now part of the channel really much, dude, and like he's got a strong accent. I mean, I got a strong accent, I know, but like, he's got a strong accent too.
Both of you together
is wild, exactly.
Wild.
Yeah, Will and I in one video, and it's like, especially when we go other places that are completely confused. Like there's German and Colombian, and they say they're from America, but we're in Malaysia right now. What? Me and him in Malaysia, we were aliens. We were absolute aliens.
That's funny.
Yeah.
All right, everyone. Marvin Stammel. He's with Flex Rocks Rollovers. He's got a new series, continuance of a series, 24 Hell and Back, coming out on YouTube this Sunday. Make sure you check it out. Follow him on all of the socials. Give those out again.
Flex Rocks Rollovers everywhere, or Flex Rocks and Rollovers everywhere.
There it is, dude. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. It was a blast. Thank you guys.
Definitely.
Have a great night, everybody. And we'll
do it again.
I'll see you guys on YouTube on Sunday morning.
All right, man. Take it easy. Thanks for listening, everyone.